Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, we seek the prayers and peace of Allah upon his servant and messenger, and upon his descendants, his companions, the Muslims and believers throughout the world, and all that follows in the traditional greeting of peace of Assalamu alaikum. It is my intention to share my reflection on Surah 4, Ayat 125. And who is it that can be more beautiful and greater in excellence in revealed religious laws and acts of devotion than one who, of his own accord, has faithfully devoted and submitted himself entirely to God? That is, he is sincerely obedient in carrying out what Allah commands. He is a virtuous performer of good deeds for the sake of God, with faith, affirming the oneness of God. His desires are for the pleasant things in life, and his goodness expresses the blessings he receives in himself, his body, and from his environmental conditions. In conforming with the faith and religious creed of Abraham, the upright, in Al-Islam, one must incline entirely away from evil and the path of all false religions towards the correct religion of excellence and faith of Abraham. Because of Abraham's loyal and virtuous character and his sincere obedience to God, God took him, a man of pure faith, to become bonded as his loving, sincere friend. The prescribed principles modeled by Abraham, the true in faith, is cited as the criteria for the devotee to follow to be successful and gain in the pleasures of Allah. Namely, those attributes are: submit yourself entirely to Allah, be sincere and obedient, behave righteously as a doer of good to self and others, follow the faith of Abraham, the Islamic monotheism to worship none but one God alone, applying rational knowledge or logic to the impact that impacts the intellect. Today, more than ever, there is an overwhelming need for united principles that will support and direct the collective group or members in community life towards spiritual and social success. These principles must be prescribed by God and not by man to avoid any biases in favor of one's race, religion, status, and or political preferences, and they must complement the true nature that is in the soul of every human being. The family unit is the first moral environment and enlightenment that communicates all the proper social skills and manners to its members. The home setting influences future progress according to the standards set in shared obligations and responsibilities among the group for the sake of God. Attributes of God consciousness: love, kindness, charity, tending to neighborly needs, patience, nurturing, and beneficial work ethics create family solidarity and a bonding community. If the virtual deeds in the family structure are abandoned or disrupted, with surmounting obstacles, inhibiting progress, the people eventually become hopeless and irrational in their thinking. Dissension gradually seeps in among the members in the community, dissolving their protective cohesiveness and sense of belonging, leaving them vulnerable. Poor communities with great disparities are suffering openly and are stigmatized by its mounting neglect. Vicious cycles of these disparities are generational, mainly because the soul and mind of the people are repeatedly fed over long periods of time toxic and depressive language that creates the vulnerability to every scheme, lie, and cheat. A sense of urgency due to the daily coronavirus creeping into the Earth's atmosphere, unseen by the naked eye, had to occur to rattle and reconcile the heart and intellect and God's truth and science throughout the global community as a resolution to the widespread occurrences. The characteristic of this daily virus mimics the characteristics of careless, self-centered leaders that ill-manage and ignore the order God placed in creation. It can be likened to the evil whisperers that creep subliminally into the hearts of the common man with diseased ideas and unhealthy appetites, causing spiritual, intellectual, and social deaths. These type of deaths weaken man's confidence in his ability and understanding to manage his own mind toward the right solutions. We must change the language in our own soul to get rid of the blemishes in order to support change in environmental circumstances. The common sense language that's relative to the concern of the people and influenced by God is the only solution to cure the spiritual, social, and psychological diseases that have stained the hearts and minds of mankind. Willingly or unwillingly, man will inevitably return to his Creator, submitting entirely to the will of the one and only God and acting out the virtues of Abraham the prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, with sincerity, inclines the obedient servant away from selfish pride, unchecked egos, and misguided traditions in community life towards good deeds established to support and cultivate an wholesome environment to sustain life. These are the believers who seek the friendship of God. May Allah bless us all. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.